I'm now going to take you through how to download from a PAT tester into PATGuard 3. In this case I'm going to be using the Apollo 600, but the process is similar for all Apollo series testers, and if you're using any older testers, Supernovas, Europas, again follow the instructions in your user manual. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to set up the actual database ready for the download. Now one thing I'm going to add on here is I'm just going to add in a site for my checkbox, so that my checkbox results all go into this site. Now you'll notice on here I've added this in as what I call a top level site, so it's not associated with a client, so it won't appear on client reports. It'll just put the results into checkbox, and then if I want to do any reports from my checkbox, they can go in there. So we've got this set up right. Now I just go on to data transfer and we've got download from tester, so I just click on download from tester and we've got the options here on the screen. Now what I'm going to do is just move over onto the actual Apollo itself. So if I just move over onto the Apollo, you'll see on the Apollo I've got the Apollo 600 connected using the USB download cable. You can obviously do this with a mobile device, or you can do this with the memory stick, but I tend to use the USB download cable because it's quick and simple and generally a reliable process. So in this case what I'll do is, off the home screen I simply press F4, which takes me into the main menu, and then we want number 5, which is download. So if I go number 5 for download, now in here I need to just set up what we want to actually download. So in this case we're going to download to PATGuard using the USB cable. Now these are just drop downs and I can pick what I want off here. So we just simply go through that process. Now I can change the file name if I want. If I was downloading just the file and I wanted different file names, I can change the file name, but for us we can leave that as it is. And then I've got an option to apply a filter or download everything. So if I go for the little F2 there, I can actually apply a filter, so I could just download just today's work or just work between certain points, which could be quite useful if you've got a lot of work on your tester for different clients. I can also filter this to just PAT test results, health and safety forms, or risk assessments. So again we can pick that. Now I'll just come out of there because I want to download everything. So all I simply do on the Apollo at this point is just press all, F4. And what it'll do, it'll copy those files into the download memory on the tester, and as it says now, copy data to the PC now. So I can actually pop back over onto the PATGuard view, and you'll notice that I've actually got a little message popped up there to tell me that a USB device has been connected. That's the Apollo. So all I simply do off this screen now is I select the tester. In this case we've only got one instrument set up, so it's just the Apollo. I go to find the actual file. Now we're looking for a .GAR file, which is an Apollo download file. Now it'll take a guess at where it was last time you used it, which might be correct, but it's always best to browse and just make sure. So if I just go on here and just have a look on my computer, I should see a drive called Apollo. And if I click on that drive, we've got a folder in there called Apollo download. If I double click on that, we've got the apollo.GAR file name that we chose earlier. So I just select that file and press open. So that's all set up. Now I've got the choice to just download the file, so maybe I can send that back to the office, or download into the database. So we're going to take that data straight into the database. Now the next thing it asks me is to pick the client. Always select the client. Because if you leave it on auto, obviously it'll guess what client it is, and it'll could put it in the wrong client. So always guess the client. But I'm going to leave site on auto, so it'll actually put the sites into the right sites in the database. And also, if there is any sites that don't exist in the database, it will create them automatically. Now another important tip is make sure that you've got the preview option ticked, and this will give you a chance to preview your data. So we've set all the options on here, so all I simply do now is just press OK, and what we get there is we actually get a download preview. So this is a preview of the results on there, and we can see the items that have been tested. We can see there's a checkbox on there. Now on this preview screen, if I actually wanted to change any of these comments, I can actually go in and change the comments, for example. So I can just click on there. If I wanted to make an extra comment, I can add those sort of things in. So we can actually go through and tweak this. If I wanted to actually get rid of one of these items, I can delete, or if I wanted to delete several of them, I can actually shift click on there, and that will actually give me multiple selections, and I can actually delete those. So this is a very important stage to look at and see, right, what are we actually doing with the data? Is it right? Is it correct? And if it isn't, you've always got the option to press cancel. So we can actually cancel out of there and decide to do the download again, or maybe change the data around a little bit, or if the download hadn't worked as we thought it would. Again, we don't need to bring that data in at that point into the database. So I'm happy with this data, so I'm going to press process. Now what you'll see on here is generally, if you've done things right and everything's straightforward, it'll just process straight into the database. But if PATGuard actually sees any problems within the download or things it's confused by, it'll ask you a series of questions, so you can actually decide how you want to proceed. So it's telling me, is the asset 0001 in the download at site building 1 and location room 1 a duplicate? So what it's telling me, it's actually seen more than one item with the number 0001. So what it's saying is that two different assets that we've given the same number, i.e. a duplicate, or is it the same asset that's been tested more than once? Now usually it'll be the same asset that's been tested more than once within the download. So that means that it's not actually a duplicate, it's the same item, and those results will be appended onto the same item. So it's always important at this point to just have a look and decide, is it a duplicate, is it not? If you're not sure, say yes, it is a duplicate, and it will create a site called duplicate, put it in there for you to address later on. So in this case, I know that's not a duplicate, so I'm going to say no, that's not a duplicate, it's the same item that's been tested multiple times. Again, it's obviously spotted it again. Now I could do no to all in this case, and it's gone through. Sometimes the other message that you might get is where assets have moved from location to location. It will just check with you whether you want to move the asset from locations if the download says it's in a different location than the database. So we can just check those items have come in. So if I just click on the checkbox, we've now got the checkbox has come into the checkbox site. So the checkbox results are in there, and if I just double click on that, we can actually see the checkbox is in there, and we can actually see the results there. And we can see how the checkbox test got on. So we can actually see the results there from the checkbox. And obviously each time we do it, then this will build up and we'll actually get our history for that particular item. On the client Seaward, in addition to the Peter Lee site and room 1 that we had previously, we've now got building 1, because in the database, in the download, there was a building 1 in there, so it's actually created that site for me automatically. I didn't have to put that in advance, it's created that. And you can see in there we've actually got 4 assets, and if I just expand that out, you can see we've got room 1 there, and we've got the assets here. So if I actually double click on that asset, again you can see we've got results in there for that item. And the item 001 that it actually mentioned before, if I actually double click on there, you can see, because it was tested multiple times, it's actually given us a list down there. There was actually a risk assessment in for that item as well, so it's kept the risk assessment, and we've also got the multiple tests that were carried out on that. You can see as well that a picture was taken of the item at the time of test, and that picture is displayed on the screen as well, so it's actually downloaded the pictures in that case as well. So that was a successful download, and that information has made it into our database, and we've got our checkbox records in there. So on the Apollo, if I just go back over onto the Apollo again, at this point we've finished the download, so all we need to do is just press escape, and we're back onto the main menu again, and back onto the home screen, and we're ready to carry on testing. So relatively straightforward. We've just got to set it up on the PAT tester on the Apollo, set it up in PATGuard, do the download, check the data with the preview screen, and then obviously just make sure that we're happy with the data once it's made it into our database. So that's how we carry out a download using PATGuard 3 and an Apollo series tester.